Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Point Beyond webinar on survey and maintenance reporting, a solution for mobile workforces. My name's Ian Woodgate. I'll be presenting today. I'm the Managing Director of Point Beyond. My background is in delivering IT solutions for financial services organisations, although these days, as well as running Point Beyond, I help our customers across a very broad range of industries at a more strategic level. In other words, I help them to make the right choices regarding their IT solutions and ensuring that their approach to solution delivery is correct. A little bit about Point Beyond, our company. We're an IT solutions business. We recommend and deliver solutions that help our customers to improve their productivity and to reduce their costs. We have a strong focus on what we call a no-code and a low-code approach to solution delivery. Excuse the slides going forwards. And the solution that you're going to see today was built without a single line of code. So please do bear that low-code and no-code approach in mind as we go through the session today and look at the demo. Just think how easy and flexible to change the solution is if it's built without any code. So our agenda today is as follows. I'm briefly going to talk about some of the typical challenges that organisations face with surveying and hazard reporting. We're then going to look at the benefits of Nintex forms. We'll then go on to the demo, which will be the bulk of the session today, a quick summary and Q&A, and the whole thing probably take around 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so let's look at the typical challenges that organisations have when they have field workers out and about looking at hazards, doing any kind of surveying, any kind of reporting activity. How are those processes typically managed? Typically they're managed by people having clipboards and paper. Maybe they're also using things like Excel or Access, maybe they're scanning things in. And we see a lot of paperwork, we see a lot of rekeying of information, and generally it becomes quite difficult for these organisations to track and to report on what they're doing, how many tasks might be outstanding, how long things are taking, and so forth and so on. We also may have issues around security and mistakes being made, pieces of paper being lost, and so forth and so on. And we also have a big issue around speed. If you've got people out all day and then they're having to return to base to rekey information, that's obviously slowing any process down. But also there's a challenge around finding a solution that meets your needs. We recognise that every organisation works in a slightly different way, has slightly different processes, and the great thing about this solution built using Nintex and its no-code approach is that it's infinitely flexible. If you have a different process, it's very easy through a simple visual interface to drag and drop different components to make the solution do what you need it to do. So what I'll do is just talk now briefly about the benefits of this approach using this product called Nintex Forms. Nintex Forms gives us a very easy to use forms designer. We create our forms very quickly, very visually, just using a browser-based editor. When we've done that, our forms are also enabled for mobile devices. We don't need to configure complex gateways. We don't need to push information through firewall holes. It will just work on mobile devices, and I'll explain a little bit in the next slide how that works. And that means that we can capture information on it and work on any device. And it actually also even works if the device is offline. So if you've got surveyors working in an area where there's no mobile signal, that's not a problem. They can still use the form, and when they get connectivity again, all the forms information that they've captured will be pushed through. Solution that we're showing today and the technologies that underpin it are equally at home, whether you're working on premises or whether you're using cloud-based system with something like Office 365. And lastly, with Nintex, what we get is we get the ability to really deliver these solutions very quickly. There's no code involved. We can also integrate with things like SharePoint and lists. We've got a very powerful workflow engine, so we can visually create the workflows that we need using Nintex workflow. So we're saving an awful lot of time compared to code development, and we're also de-risking our projects massively by avoiding custom code. I said I would say a little bit more about how Nintex Forms works with mobile devices, so I'd like to just cover that off now. So one of the really nice things about working with Nintex Forms and is that you don't have, if you want to make your forms available externally on mobile devices, you don't need to make any infrastructure changes. There's no opening holes in firewalls. It's simple, it's secure. You could go ahead, and if you've got SharePoint deployed or you've got Office 365, you could go ahead and do this today. Okay, it's that easy. The devices that you're using could be iPhones, could be iPads, could be Windows 8 devices, could be Android. I'll be showing on an iPhone today. So in a nutshell, how does Nintex Forms achieve this ability to publish your forms out to your mobile devices? And the answer is it uses a hosted service which is free to anyone who's got Nintex Forms, called Nintex Live. And Nintex Live effectively acts as a gateway, a secure gateway for your forms and for the data. So it's interesting to note that the data only transits through Nintex Live. Your data is not kept on that platform. It's purely a gateway. And what happens is Nintex Forms connects up to Nintex Live, which you can see over on the left of this slide, over here, and then the forms are then published out to our mobile devices. Very easy to do, no code, no configuration changes. So a great example of how we can do something very quickly and easily using this tool set, and also a great example of a no-code solution. What I'm going to touch on next is the no-code approach, and I just wanted to highlight very quickly that the no-code and low-code approach isn't just something that we've come up with, it's something that analysts like Forrester are recommending. And this recent paper by Forrester called New Development Platforms Emerge for Customer-Facing Applications, available on the internet. This paper says that the demand for applications, and in particular customer-facing applications in the paper, is driving people away from coding and leading them to really look for these kind of no-code and low-code solutions. And the other nice thing about this paper is it really highlights the benefits of doing that. Namely, you remove the need for extensive hand coding and its inherent cost and risk. The paper also highlights the faster delivery that you can achieve with no-code solutions, allowing IT departments to react more quickly to business needs and to deliver solutions in days rather than weeks or months. Okay, I said that the bulk of this session will be with a demo, and indeed it will be. So we're going to be demoing our maintenance surveying and reporting solution. As I've mentioned before, this is a very customizable and configurable solution, so do bear in mind when you look at it, if the forms haven't got the fields that you would want, if the workflow doesn't follow the kind of pattern that you would want your workflow to follow, those are very easy changes, all of which can be made by somebody without development skills. So the scenario we've got is we've got somebody out doing maintenance surveying, so they're reporting what and where repairs are needed. But equally, of course, you can bear in mind there are very many similar scenarios where you might want to have that kind of process. It could be traveling sales team taking orders, could be health and safety, people reporting hazards, could be people out on the streets doing questionnaires, whatever. And as I've already said, this whole solution was built in days. It was built without using any code at all. So let's flick over now and I'll show you the demonstration. What I'm going to start with actually, is I think I will start by showing you the SharePoint site where we keep a log of our requests. So you should be able to see on your screens now the list of repairs. You can see here that they're listed. Some have not yet been assigned engineers, some have been assigned engineers, and we have different statuses here. This is just a regular SharePoint list. I can go into it, I can create different views of it, I can do whatever I want to do with this normal SharePoint list. So a lot of flexibility there. One nice thing to highlight as well is we've enabled geolocation. I'll show you more about this in a minute. But so for every location we can click if we want to, and we can see a little map showing us where things are. Okay, just zoom that out a bit so there you can see, for example. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to submit a new maintenance request into my list. but I'm going to submit it using my mobile device. So just to show you that, I've got a sharing application. I will now bring up my mobile onto your screens. Okay, so you can see here's my mobile, it's my iPhone, and I've got a little link bottom right, which is my app, which is the Nintex mobile app. So I'm going to go ahead and click that now and launch that app. Very easy to use, intuitive app. I've got my tasks, I've got my forms, I've got drafts, outbox, and settings. I'm going to go ahead now and click on forms, and you can see I've got one form there available for me to fill out, which is maintenance requests. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and it brings up the form. So what I'll do now is I'll now go ahead and fill out the form. So let's say we've got a broken door hinge. Choose the type of fault that is. Maybe that's something to do with abandoned vehicles, let's say. Road. Priority level, maybe that's medium. Surveyor notes, needs replacement pin. So all of these fields, all these categorizations, completely customizable to whatever you would want on your form. And notice here as well, we can start to use the features of the mobile device like geolocation. So I can select my location, or I can just hit the little cross wires and it will go ahead and automatically get my location for me. Okay, and also I can use attachments as well, and that includes, if I go through to do my attachments, that includes using the camera. So I can take a photo on my device and I can use that picture. So let's say I want to use that picture, that's fine. Go ahead and select that picture. That one there. Attach that to my document. I can attach more pictures if I wanted to, as many as I want. And then I'll go ahead now on my mobile device and I'll submit that. What happens now is this now takes a few seconds to push the form back up to the Nintex Live Gateway, which we saw on the slide earlier, and back through to my SharePoint site. In fact, it's done. I don't know if you saw at the bottom here, this outbox had a 1 beneath it, beside it for a few seconds. That's now gone. So let's go back to our list, and I'll just refresh it. We can see that there my broken door hinge has now appeared. I've got all the information there to hand. And also, I'll just show you quickly as well, we've also created a map view. So I can click here if I want to get this rather nice view. I can see all of my items here, including my broken door hinge, which is here. Okay, I'll go back to the list, because what we've also done here is we've created a workflow. And what the process we've got in mind here is that the requests are submitted from the mobile devices into a central office, and somebody in that office then assigns an engineer to the maintenance request. So I'll go ahead and do that now by editing this item, and I'm going to assign it to myself for purposes of this demo. Okay, you can see I've got all the information available on the form here now in the browser. And when I'm happy with that, I've also got the attachment here as well, just to show you that. There's my picture. Okay, so all the information is available to the person sent head office, including the picture. They can assign an engineer in this particular demo and then save that. And what that's going to do is that's going to kick off a workflow, which we've created again using the Nintex workflow. That workflow is going to do several things. It's going to call the Bing web service to get to the engineer directions from his current location to the location of where the fault is. And it's also going to call another Bing web service to get him a little map as well, to show him the route that he should take from where he is now to the location he needs to go to next. That workflow takes a few seconds to run, so while it's going through that, let me just show you how these workflows are built. So what I can do is very quickly go into here and click on View Workflow History. You can see our running workflow here, Assign Repair Task. I can go ahead and click on that, and we can see where this workflow is up to. And the green tasks are things that the workflow has done, we can see I get the log location and get directions we're calling Bing for, and we're now at the point where it's assigning a task to the engineer. So that's where this workflow is at. What I would like to show you quickly as well is I'd like to show you quickly in another window how we edit those workflows. So I'm going to go ahead now and go to the list. I'm going to click on my menu at the top here. Now obviously you have to have permissions to be able to do that. Go to my workflow settings, and you can see here I can manage my workflows with Nintex workflow. When I go ahead and do that, I can see my workflow, assign repair task. And we can see the similar workflow that we've seen before, but this time I've got the ability to edit it. I've got lots of different actions alongside here. So many different things that we're able to do, check-ins, check-outs, creating items, discarding items, so forth and so on. Lots of logic, flow, calling Nintex live, lots of operations that you might want to do. And the workflow is just created very simply and very visually by just taking an action such as send an email notification, dragging and dropping it over to where we want to do whatever it is we want to do, and configuring it. And we can do things like variables and work and branching logic and all the kind of things that you'd expect. But very easy, very visual way to create our workflow. Very powerful solution. I'm just going to close that now because I don't want to make any changes. And now let's go back to our workflow. What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go back to my mobile device, and let's see whether or not the engineer has been assigned a task. Just bring up the sharing of my mobile phone again. Okay. So now what you should be able to see. So I'm back on my mobile device, so I'm now in the role of the engineer out in the field. I can see that I've been assigned a task, and it's a repair task of the broken door hinge. I can go ahead now and click on that task, and you'll see at the top I've got a couple of attachments. Let me go ahead now and I'll show you what those attachments are. The first one just downloading is a map showing me how to get from where I am now to where the repair needs to be done. Second attachment is the original photo that was taken by the surveyor that reported the fault in the first place. I've got a distance in miles to the location. I've got an estimated duration of 4 minutes, and I've also got the directions from the Bing web service as well. You can see there it's telling me where I need to drive to. Okay, so the engineer is then able to go and effect the repair so that the engineer can arrive, say, right, completed the repairs, and say pin replaced. Say, and they can then attach any more attachments should they need to do that, and submit, and then that task is then completed. See, the outbox had that little 1 byte for a few seconds. That's now gone. If I'd been offline and not had a mobile, I still could have done the mobile signal. I still could have done that. The form updates would simply have cached on my mobile device until I did get a signal. Okay, so let's go back and look at our workflow. We can see where we were at before. We were at this point of having the task assigned to the engineer. I'll just refresh the browser, and we should see an update to reflect that the workflow is now completed. And indeed it has. So you can see we've gone down this route. These have all now turned green. If I go back to my street repairs list, we can see my completed task at the bottom. Again, these views are all configurable. We can see the broken door hinge here now has now got a status of completed, and it's finished. And you can see the engineer notes have been included here as well. Nice thing about this, of course, is we can go and look at the history. You can see what happened historically. I showed you that just now, in fact. But I can also show you a more detailed view. We can actually start to see the full history of who did what and when. So everything's audited. We're able to understand all the activities that were done by whom and when. So a lot of visibility that we can report on there if we wish to do so. Okay, I think that just about wraps up the demo. So yeah, let's go back to the slides and wrap up. So in summary then, what I hope I've shown you is a very powerful but very easy to use and easy to build and configure and customize solution for surveying and hazard reporting that was built very quickly on top of SharePoint using Nintex forms and also Nintex workflows. I hope you agree this kind of solution really gives you the potential to increase the speed with which you run your surveying and hazard reporting type processes, to do things more efficiently, make fewer mistakes, and also to have much greater visibility of all of your in-flight activities and where they're at and how long things are taking. Of course, if you can do things more quickly and be more accurate and efficient, then it enables you to save time and money. And also, of course, what we're doing here is we're supporting our workforce. We're enabling them to have real-time access using mobile devices to enable them to work more quickly and more efficiently, to get things turned around more quickly. As I've already hope I've shown you by the way the solution was put together using a no-code approach, it's a very flexible and configurable solution. Whatever fields you need, you can include whatever workflow processes you need, no matter how complex or simple they may be. Those are relatively easy to build into the solution. And also, this isn't about having to do long and complicated coding projects. There's no custom code at all in the solution. It's put together in a matter of days. And also, there's no infrastructure changes either. You can just deploy the Nintex Forms capability if you're running on premises or in the cloud and get going and starting doing this stuff with mobile devices. So we've gone through everything quite quickly today. The demos have all behaved themselves and run through nice and quickly. So I think we're going to wrap up a little bit early. So it just remains for me to say, if you like what you've seen today, if you'd like some more information on the solution and some pricing information, please do not hesitate to get in touch. There's my email address here. You can drop me an email or you can call us on the number that's shown on the screen. I'm now very happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for attending today.